equipment one night. And he was getting you basic stuff, some plastic worms, some hooks, stuff like that. Now, on that low-end, small fishing equipment stuff, it usually doesn't run that much in price, so we didn't have to call the police, but once we get this dude in the office, he's just being straight belligerent. He's in here telling us he didn't steal a damn thing, he's cussing, he's just being belligerent and calling us every name in the book. So we ended up having to call the police, and he's keeping this up all the way until the police walk in that door. When the police get there, he's even more pissed now, but now he's admitting that he stole everything, but it's just fishing equipment, and why are we making such a big deal about it? So he starts violently reaching into his pockets and pulling out lures and hooks and everything and just throwing them across the office. But on one of those last pulls, my man just drops to his knees, goes straight to the fetal position, starts screaming and crying. Apparently one of those hooks made its way outside the plastic package and they hooked him in a sensitive area. Use your imagination. EMS gets there and that's a scene I'll never forget. You know what they say, give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, he'll never go hungry a day in his life. Hook yourself in the nuts one time, you ain't going fishing no more. Y'all stay petty.
Irresponsibly claiming the United States was responsible for the leak.
Other than Putin and Tucker Carlson, it seems pretty clear that everyone knows that Putin did this himself.
And Tucker Carlson, this past week, actually once again directly repeated Russian propaganda, suggesting it was somehow the United States behind the attack on the Nord Stream pipeline. How real is that movement? Is it growing?
Is certainly the most likely suspect. I think this might be just the first salvo of some additional things that might be coming toward Europe.
What Putin is saying to us by blowing up his pipeline is, look, I can blow up a pipeline if need be. I can blow up the internet cables coming into your country. I can blow up functioning pipelines. I could do all sorts of stuff.
Oh, it's the destruction of the Nord Stream pipeline, which I would bet was a U.S. action, perhaps U.S. and Poland. This is
Jeff, we got to stop there. That's quite a statement as well. Why do you feel that was a U.S. action? What evidence do you have of that?
Well, first of all, there's direct radar evidence that U.S. helicopters, military helicopters that are normally based in Gdansk, were circling over this area. We also had the threats from the United States earlier in this year that one way or another, we are going to end Nord Stream. You're not allowed to say these things in the West, but the fact of the matter is, all over the world, when I talk to people, they think the U.S. did it. Just to tell you, and by the way, even reporters on our papers that are involved tell me privately, yeah, well, of course, but it doesn't show up in our media.
The anchor's clearly getting instruction from the Chrome. Stop him, stop him. What evidence do you have? Well, there's radar evidence. What? Be quiet. Shut up. Just off. Never invite him back. Stop. The only explanation allowed, of course, is the one the government wants you to believe. Vladimir Putin is so evil, he's destroying his own pipelines.
I had a dude steal a crucifix from me one night. Yeah, you heard that shit right. We had this guy one night back in our craft section. He was just acting as sketchy as hell. He was looking all around, just nervous as hell. And it wasn't a crucifix, it was a rosary kit, but it had a crucifix in it, so it counts. And he grabs one off the shelf and he puts it in his pocket and he starts heading out the door. I get him in the office, he said he didn't do anything wrong, and plus they should be free. Well, maybe they're free at your church, but not at the Church of Walden. And I must have missed that asterisk on that thou shalt not steal part in the Bible. Now the rosary kit, it didn't cost much, so I didn't have to call the police on it. But I did tell him he's going to hell for it. Y'all stay petty.